Well, regional action gets underway this week for high school sports. Track starts tomorrow. Baseball and softball follow close behind. Spring sports hurtling toward championships next couple of weeks. To help us get a handle on all the action, joined by Fox 11 prep expert Doug Ritchie. Game Time's Justin Felder with tonight's high school Game Time.
Well, I'm here with Fox 11 prep expert Doug Ritchie. Doug, 5 sports postseasons get started this coming week. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, this is when the games obviously become more important, and you know what? It hits us right away. You know, we're going through the regular season, bam, we start on Monday with a little tennis and track, and it goes from there. It's going to be an exciting 2 weeks.
Absolutely, and we'll get you the schedule of what's coming up this week. You can get your planners going a little bit later on. But let's talk about a little bit of girls soccer. Seymour leading the Bay Conference by 2 with just 2 games left to play, and they beat West De Pere 1-0 Thursday night in a good game. That's Brianna Messner right there with the goal. What makes Seymour so tough?
Can't score on them. Yeah. They've allowed 2 goals in conference play. This is why. Goalkeeper Maddie Plinska is really good, and what it does is when you play such good defense, your offense doesn't have to score 3 or 4 goals. You can score 1 like they did against West De Pere, and that's enough.
And I'll tell you what, you don't see a lot of penalty kicks stop. That is tough on a goalie to do. We might be seeing that a little later on in the show. Just a little foreshadowing there. And we told you about the conference standings. Let's take a look at that right now. Seymour, like we said, a 2-game lead with just a couple games left. Marinette, West De Pere, we saw hanging tough with Seymour in a 1-0 game. But Seymour right now, the class.
The class, and scary thing about Seymour, 2 seniors on that team.
Very impressive.
They're not done winning.
Absolutely. They're a good team. And speaking of good teams, we got the official rankings of just how good teams are. Seedings coming out in baseball and softball, and you can find out where your favorite team falls in the playoff picture. Fox11online.com. Got much more on there. Now, a team to deal with on the baseball side in Division I, Kimberly.
Yeah, no surprise there. Ryan McGinnis does such a great job with the paper makers. They got to stay about 4 years in a row until last year, but this is a quality program.
Well, they're missing that one trip to state. Maybe that has them motivated. These guys, once again, in control of the FBA. Just 2 league losses on the season. They beat Fond du Lac 6-0 on Thursday. Shutouts not easy to come by. And are you surprised they're doing so well?
No, just the tradition. I mean, Kimberly, like I said before, they know how to play in the postseason. And you know, this team, I don't know if they have the star player like a Jamie Wells from a few years ago. But Kimberly's Kimberly. They recycle kind of like they do in football, and they win a lot.
Kimberly's a real good baseball team. And speaking of teams that have the tendency to make it to state, over on the softball side, Appleton East softball is on what they're calling the drive for 5. I like it, as it's trying to reach their 5th straight trip to the state tournament.
Yeah, and the 2 reasons why the Patriots are on pace for another trip to state, it's the play of 2 all-state caliber players. Marissa Mikulkiewicz and Lauren Blazik have helped sustain Appleton East's success as an elite team in the state, but they've done it in different ways.
Marissa's such a natural athlete, and Marissa does a lot of things with her leadership. You know, that's one of her biggest assets that I think most people overlook just because she's such a good athlete. And Lauren's a little bit different. Lauren leads more by example and hard work, and so in the off season, she's always the kid in the gym pitching. She's the kid that doesn't miss an open gym. She's the kid that tells the other kids to get there.
Blazik knew when she came to Appleton East, the expectations were going to be high.
Because it is a tradition here at East, I think every girl comes into this program thinking like that's what they want to keep going. So definitely I think that's a mindset that we have here at East.
So far, Mikulkiewicz has been to the state tournament 3 years in a row, and she knows that's quite an accomplishment.
I don't think it's very common to go to state 4 years in a row, so to be a part of it 3 years in high school, I think it's a huge deal. I don't really pride myself on it, but I think it's just kind of a cool factor. You just want to keep going.
Despite a loss earlier this week, Appleton East still has the inside track on the FVA title. Nonetheless, the #1 ranked team in the state, it's thinking bigger.
The second step we would like to take is to go to state. Now that's going to be tough because if you look at our sectional, it's pretty tough again. At tournament time, you have to be good, and you have to be a little bit lucky too. So if those come together, that would be great, and we'd love to go again because it's a great time.
We'll see, but for now, the drive for 5 is certainly alive.
Certainly alive, and for those out there, basketball fans, Marissa Mikulkiewicz, of course, a star on the basketball court as well, someone Appleton fans are familiar with, and 4 straight trips to state. Do they have what it takes to make it 5?
They do have what it takes to get there a 5th time, but the thing is, they're in the same bracket with Kaukauna, Kimberly, Bayport, Ashwaubenon. I mean, you keep going down the line. It's a loaded bracket. Someone's getting out of there, but Kaukauna found out last year on a 51-game winning streak, doesn't mean you get there. But Appleton East is a very good ball club.
Postseason play, anything can
Yes.
happen. And speaking of the postseason, we told you at the beginning of this segment, a lot of playoff seasons getting ready to start this week. Maybe nobody busier this week than those in track and field.
Yeah, track and field, what they got to do this week, they got to get out there Monday in regionals, qualify. 2 to 3 days later, you got to go into sectionals on Thursday and get that ticket to state. And you know, this is what they train for. They train really for this week and obviously the state tournament. There's a state meet, but these 2 meets are huge, and you know, they'll be okay. This is what they do.
Well, talking a little bit about, this is some scenes from the FVA track meet this past week. It's got to be a challenge to go 2 times in the same week to really get mentally there, get yourself prepared, and obviously a lot of track you're kind of competing against yourself, setting your own mark, but still you got to get emotionally up twice in 1 week.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, up to this point, these kids have been training for this moment. They haven't been probably going all out all the time. That changes now because you can't afford to slip up. If you slip up, you're not going to be in lacrosse.
Absolutely, and track, just one of those sports getting going this week. A lot of playoff seasons getting started. You got track and field, like we said, 2 this week. Then, of course, baseball, softball, both with their regional, some of the lower seeded teams getting started this week.
Yep, that'll be interesting, but it really gets hot after Memorial Day when the big 1-2 seeds get going.
Absolutely, and moving on, there's even more than that. Boys tennis and boys golf. Tennis actually is going to have a busy week as well with subsectionals Monday, sectionals Wednesday, and boys golf, their regionals coming up on Wednesday.
Yep, a lot of good stuff going on. I don't think I can get to everything, but it's going to be fun to see how everyone does because we've got a lot of talented teams and athletes in the area.
Well, soccer postseason is around the corner as well, and that's where we'll find our Dermatology Associates No Problem Play of the Week. That is an impressive save by Maddie Plinska. Doug, Thunder won that game 1-0, so this was a key play.
Yeah, it was 1-0 at this time, and it was 59th minute, and I was at this game, and when I watched her, it was almost like she knew where the ball was going.
That's another save and a little header off of a free kick. Not easy, and those are some fingertip saves there. Very nice for Seymour as they look to continue their strong play in girls soccer.